We'll go out. So this is all the configuration of document splitting is all about. Define document splitting characteristics for controlling also we have. Let's say I want it by cost center and I save it. Then we'll zero balance clearing account. So this is the we just talked about. We have to define the zero balance clearing account. Posting keys are there. If we see the chart of account, this one, we don't have any posting key. Why we are using this? Let's go to this. For account assignment object for which you have you want to have a zero balance setting, we just saw that the system check whether the balance of account assignment object is zero after document splitting. If this is not the case, the system generates additional clearing items. In this activity, you have to create a clearing account for the additional clearing items. So here, whatever GL you enter, system creates an additional items and post it to this GL account. So you have to create a GL account and assign here. Classify document type for document splitting. For example, asset posting, unspecified, and the variant use is standard. For example, the vendor invoice KR, if I see, it is the one KR. So this is something which already we have. This is vendor invoice. So that's why it says transaction 300 vendor invoice, and again the variant is 1. So that's how you classify document type for document splitting. Every document type has to be part of one of the document splitting, otherwise the splitting will not apply on that particular area where you want. Okay. Let's move back. This we talked about. Okay, the required entry field indicator has two meanings. Firstly, it is an extension field of the field status for account in which characteristic cannot be entered during document entry, and for the account that cannot be controlled during field status, for example vendor lines. So there are some account where you cannot put some entries as manually. Okay, so their required entry field indicator has to be there. So then let system derive, because if you cannot put, let system derive that. Somehow you have to put that field. For example, segment will be the required characteristic because it has to be there for your reporting purposes, but in vendor invoice or payment you are not putting the segment manually. So it has to be required, but let system drive this based on cost center, based on profit center, or based on any other logic. Let system drive that. That's the intent. Document splitting is initially activated in customizing across the clients. In a further step, you can deactivate splitting in each company code in the same transaction. So this is by default activated for all company codes, but you can choose it at a company code level later. You can update that. It can be done by company code. Let us see activate document splitting. Then what all options we have? This is what we have: document splitting, and then we have deactivation per company code. So that here if it is tick, it is inactive. If it is unchecked, it is active. For example, now I'm deactivating this. This is deactivation. So this works reverse. Now there are two options: inheritance and default account assignment, standard account assignment. What is inheritance? Inheritance means that when you create a customer invoice from a revenue line, for example, the unique characteristics are projected to the customer and tax line in the GL view. So inheritance means if we tick the inheritance box, let system take the characteristics from the customer line itself into the GL view. And the account assignment can be used to replace all account assignment that could not be derived from the posting with a constant value. You use that indicator to activate the function for setting standard account assignment in the non-assigned line as a part of document splitting. So this is inheritance and standard or default account assignment. Splitting method. So if you just see on the top, it is written 12. Splitting same as. So these are splitting method which are supplied by SAP. Standard splitting method 12 is the one supplied and recommended by SAP. It is highly recommended to activate inheritance, as this supports you in possible posting simple document with active splitting without any customizing activities. So 12 is the commonly used one, same as 002 follow-up cost online. So it means splitting is based on customer, vendor, tax, money, company code clearing, and then at the same time follow-up cost online also is activated here. And it is recommended to use inheritance as well. So there is no constant. Okay. However, the condition for activated inheritance is complete and precise maintenance of SAP master data you are using. If you do not perform this, the inheritance can create incorrect characteristic account assignment in your posting. But for using of inheritance, you ensure that you are using all the right characteristics in your account assignment. Otherwise, what will happen is you are dependent on inheritance and you would define the base characteristic wrong. So system will copy from the base, it will inherit the right from the customer or the vendor lines, and it will post wrong in the GL. Vendor invoice with multiple line items and different account assignment with 10% tax. So you see the difference between the GL view and the entry view. So first one is the entry view. You enter this credit vendor Miller INC, and then you have advertising costs, purchase services, and then tax. But when you see the same document in the GL view, you have vendor payable, your vendor number is getting replaced now, it is taking the reconciliation account from the background. Then advertising cost, and then it takes the input tax. So tax is bricked up. And in the second entry, it takes payables as 9,900, then purchase services, and then tax is again bricked up. So try to understand this posting. That's how the GL view, the document splitting is working. You enter something, you enter on the top 4 entries, 4 lines, and then SAP break the GL line into 6. So that's what the standard document splitting is, and that's how the GL view looks like. Take a minute and understand this. And this layout at the bottom, if you're seeing GL view, it is sorted by segment. Okay. The entities defined at the document splitting characteristics are transferred into non-account assigned posting lines. So it automatically transferred in the rule-based splitting. It transfers into the non-account assigned posting line. So based on rule, it will send automatically the characteristics. As you can see on the slide, the balance of the selected characteristic is 0. In this example, active document splitting, the vendor line items 1 and 4 in GLV are split according to the expense line. So here you see that based on cost, based on expense, advertising and input cost and purchase services, tax line is split. So in the new version ERP 6.0, you can simulate the document in both the entry views and the GL view. Previously it was only entry view you can simulate, but now if not even saving, you can also simulate and see the document how it looks like in GL view, and then if it is comfortable and as per the business requirement, then you can save it. So you have both the options: simulate in entry view, simulate in GL view, save the document, and then view in entry view or view in GL view. So you have all the flexibility options available here. In this way, you can analyze earlier and more precisely an error that would lead to termination. So before saving the document itself, you can see if something is wrong, or everything is fine. You can analyze the document and then take a decision whether to save it or do some corrections and then save it. Document splitting logic using the vendor invoice as an example. We just saw that we have a vendor invoice, we have a business transaction variant, document type, splitting method 12, splitting line, item categories to be processed. Based on expense, we break the line of tax, and that's how it breaks up. We just saw the example above. Briefly, the splitting procedure is the total of all splitting rules. So the all splitting rules combine together and make the splitting procedure. Thus, a splitting procedure uses the splitting rule to define how an FI document is to be split. More precisely, this means that each splitting procedure or rule defines how individual categories should may be dealt with individual business transactions. So that is splitting rules, how you are splitting the document. Business transaction is a general breakdown of the actual business process that SAP provides, and that is assigned a wide variety of item categories. Separate customer specific business transaction cannot be defined. So you cannot define business transaction. You have to use what standard SAP is providing. Business transaction variant is a specific version of the predefined business transaction provided by SAP and the technical mapping of real business process for splitting. Separate business transactions can be defined. So you can define separate business transaction variant. Item category. Technical mapping of posted line. It describes that the item that may appear with a document. Some of them are derived from the balance type of GL account, but otherwise must be defined manually. Item categories we just saw. Right? We didn't saw. We saw that. Activate document splitting. This is the item category. So we have based on what logic we can take the item categories. For example, currently we are using 01001, this one 01001, zero balance posting, because we are in the node of zero balance clearing account definition. So that's item category. You saw this splitting rule detailed view. So there is a transaction GSP underscore RD. Let's check that. GSP underscore RD. So all the splitting method are visible here. Splitting method, variant, and item categories, base item categories, everything is visible in this transaction. So this is, you can see, a summary of all the splitting methods. 1, 2, all the methods are given here. 12, 101, 13, and you can customize as well. Okay. Simulate document expert mode. So the moment you click the expert mode, it provides the information about all important parameters relating to document splitting, such as split processes, business transaction, and so on. So if you see here, the moment we click expert mode, it gives all the logics. Which business transaction, which splitting method, which transaction variant, what are the document number, zero balance method, everything comes up.